Hello to my beautiful family of light, you courageous and wonderful beings. Yes, that's you. You may not know it, but I'm happy to have you here. Welcome to my channel. My name is Claudia. I'm doing a series of videos that will demonstrate for you how one person's life from beginning to this point, and I'm in my 70s now, so it's been a long arduous journey. It's sometimes it's wonderful, sometimes it's really in the toilet, and I suppose we've all been there at a time or two, excuse me. So we're on the fifth episode, if you will, of the story of my life. And first of all, I want to apologize for I've had two videos that have had rather abrupt endings and didn't get their proper ending and credits installed at the end. So I'm learning how to do that, which I haven't been able to accomplish yet. So I'm just sort of marching on. I'll go back and fix those and let you know which episodes have that information, but it's basically the content. It's right at the end, and for some reason I've had a couple of stops and starts that haven't been real graceful. It's like scraping your knees, right? But you know what? Life happens, and I'm happy to be part of it. So we're in the fifth episode, and from the past videos, I would like for you to get a piece of paper if you haven't started a little bit of a journal regarding your own journey. I'm hoping that you will be able to get triggered for some of your own thoughts and ideas for events and different things that have happened to you through these age periods that we're going to cover. And some of the events are things that have hurt deeply, that have maybe caused you to feel a certain way about yourself, with lack of confidence, worthiness, issues of trust, lack of respect. Maybe there's anger, fear, resentment. There may even have been harm perpetrated upon you, and you have certain feelings about that particular event. What we will get to in more depth is that behind everything that happens that is not in keeping with who we are. Children are born loving, joyful, carefree, full of freedom, happy and creative, inventive, and just little bundles of jolly joy. And things along the way disrupt that, and then we start making decisions about who we are and what we want to be in our lives, and some of it now that is leading to those decisions is hidden from us, and we don't even know why we're propelled in a certain direction or why we're behaving in a certain way. And when we become consciously aware and observers, then we will begin unlocking some of those things. So I'm giving you some of the things that have occurred in my own life that caused me to veer off in a direction that isn't in keeping with who I really am, who I naturally am as a divine being. We all have a divine nature to who we are. So we're through up to about the teens, and you know, I've touched on just a few of my own events that caused me to become sad, withdrawn, and not to be the expressive, outgoing, joyful person that I was. And so maybe your own story will reflect a little bit of that, and maybe yours is all great and you have some tips for us. So I'm going to go back into the teens a little bit for you, and we're going to start there before we go into my 20s. when I was 15, I think it was. Now, the dates aren't as important other than it's late teen years. And we had now a quadriplegic brother, my mother's son, living at, well, he's not living at home at the moment. He is, I think he's at the University of Washington, where he is immersed in classes and developing keeping himself occupied. Brilliant mind, photographic memory, and a mean son of a gun. He was really mean. He was to me. I don't know about the rest of you, but I was the runt of the litter, and I was the oldest daughter, and I had all kinds of responsibility without any authority, and you know how that is. That's pretty despicable. In fact, it's not something anybody should have, but it doesn't matter. You go through what you go through, and you make the best of it. So parents bought a motel to try and make some money so that we could keep our heads above water. And Mom ran it for a while, and then by age 15 or so, I lived out there nights and took reservations and then cleaned on the weekends. Mom did most of the cleaning in the evenings. Yes, I think Stephen must have been, my oldest brother, must have been at the University of Washington by then. Anyhow, so at the motel, I was going to community college and wasn't sure what I wanted to be. I knew I probably could be a good teacher and enjoyed that sort of thing. There's, you're not sure what to do when you grow up in an old world Italian family. You're not, how do I want to say this without, I guess just go for it. I'm just going to let you know my thoughts and feelings, right? It felt like all the boys had all kinds of opportunities. That may not be true. You know that we make our decisions based on our perceptions of things that go on in our lives. And when you have a family of 10 people, you can put 10 people who've gone through one event into a room and ask them all what their perceptions were, and they're all going to have a different perspective on what took place. Anyhow, this is my perspective, and it's only my perspective. And the siblings in my family who are alive will probably find it rather amusing. I hope so anyway. Who knows? But there were traumas for probably all of us, and we all handled it differently. Anyhow, I moved into the motel, and I lived out there nights and did reservations and cleaning on the weekends especially. And oftentimes during the week if need be. But while you're going to college, you really don't have a lot of time for external stuff. You do what you need to do to keep the family afloat and to just, take care of stuff that I knew Mom couldn't. So I did that for a couple of years. During that time, I also got a part-time job at an air service that my dad was involved in, and I did all kinds of things from looking at the windsock to determine how fast the wind was coming in and from what direction so that you could give landing instructions. I mean, go figure. I always thought my dad was full of charisma, but that sometimes he really didn't know what he was talking about. He just kind of bluffed his way through, and I think I picked up a little portion of that is in me, right? Some bluffing. Anyhow, I do have fond memories working out at the airfield, a small dirt runway, of taking flying lessons. I was scared to death, but I did not have a lot of attention in my earlier years, and it was a way for me to have some, what do you want to call it, approval from Dad, to earn some money for my own clothing and whatever else. And it gave Dad and I an opportunity to have some alone time together. And so that's the sort of thing that did leave positive memories with me. And I think my 16th birthday was memorable. Mom took me to Seattle, where we did a little bit of shopping. More it was, we went to lunch at the Bon Marché. Wasn't Macy's then, it was the Bon Marché. We went to lunch where there was a fashion show, and they had a delicious ladies luncheon. We did a little bit of shopping. I got my hair cut. We spent the night at a hotel down on the waterfront, had a wonderful dinner, and came home. And that was the most, oh, and I had my picture taken, a Sweet 16 kind of a deal. I didn't know what it meant really to turn Sweet 16, but Mom made it special, and that was a memory I'll treasure for a long time. One of the other memories that stuck with me is that while we were shopping, we sat down to go in for a cup of coffee. No, it might have been when we were waiting for me to get my hair cut. And sitting next to me was a man, tall and lanky, very handsome. And his what caught my eye were his nails were manicured and painted. And after he left, Mom said, "Did you notice that man?" And I said, "I did." I said, "I've never seen a man with painted nails." And she said, "That was a gay man." And I did not know what that meant. I didn't have a clue. And I did have a gay brother whom I discovered was gay. I think I was about 22, 23 at the time. And he and I had such a fabulous life together when we were, we were just good friends, and he was so talented and creative. And so he inspired me in a lot of ways, because he was very outgoing and I was extremely reserved. Now, music was an outlet for me. I was such a I think really ultimately I wanted to be a music teacher, but in school, the oldest brothers I had mentioned before were all draft age, and so all three of them in the military and outside the home. And every time my oldest brother, who was at college, and he had to have 24-hour-a-day care, and so whenever an attendant left him, then I got taken out of whatever I was doing and had to go stay with him and tend to his needs until a new helper could be found. And sometimes that was just a matter of a few days, and there was, I think, one time when it was like up to 10 days, almost 2 weeks. So that's the stuff that goes on. And so you understand, by now I'm realizing my freedoms are limited, and but there are some, and that I'm being encouraged by my family by my mom and dad, to have some outside interests, and the younger kids are getting a little bit older. They're more able to help her. So that's about it for then. Up to, I would say, my early 20s, I was still running the motel, and I'll never forget, this is my final story for this chapter. My parents had taken the two or three youngest kids, and gone on the train from Vancouver, Canada to Montreal. And during that time that they were gone, I closed up the motel. I went and got myself a job in an apartment. I basically left home without telling anybody and without any income from the motel during that time. And I had it was me running away from home. I was never taught how to have a constructive conversation with anybody. We were basically herded. Like if you've ever tried to herd cats, it's kind of impossible. So people, you just have to suppress. I felt quite suppressed. And so that's what I did. And when they came back, and my mother found out where I was, nobody said a word. I think they knew that it was time. And it was, I had no knowledge about budgeting. I had gotten a good job with, what was that? General Telephone Company. I became a telephone operator, one of the most fun jobs I ever had in my entire life. But it marked the beginning of probably, I think there was a series of 7 or 8 jobs, because once I had finished a job, and I did get promoted several times on that, but the point of it is that I didn't have any conversations with anybody about leaving. I just left. And so that's going to conclude my story for today. I'm going to end it here, and we'll continue in the next video with what happens now with a young woman who's out on her own, ill-equipped to face the world. I wasn't even taught how to cook, so that'll be one of the first stories I share with you. Anyhow, it's a miracle I'm alive, I think, sometimes, and I hope you're enjoying my stories and the fact that, I'm a happy person. I really always have been. There's times that when life gets you down, you do not know how to get out of it or get up and out of it. And that's when my Creator began giving me a little assistance. And that's where we're going to be going with all of this. So, well, thank you for joining me. I hope you had some fun here. I hope you made some of your own notes. I do want us to go back and maybe in a classroom setting on a Zoom or something, share some of the things that maybe you explored and discovered. Everybody's got their own story, because wherever you are today is foundational to what occurred all throughout our lives. And so, but looking at where we are and uncovering some of the secrets that are hidden from us is one of the most therapeutic kinds of things we can do in order to move on, to shift a focus, to begin thinking a little bit differently, and to create a walk through life that represents who we want to be in a way that's authentic to who we are. So thank you for joining me. Everything you want to know about me and more, probably, you'll find down below. I have a website, of course, this YouTube channel, social media. I'm not terribly active on everything, but I'm learning and growing, and like I say, trying to fix my videos that I screw up once in a while. But I do want to thank you for joining me, and that let you know that I love you. This is me telling you how much I love you, and that my love goes all the way around the world. There isn't any person, place, or thing on this planet and in the entire universe that doesn't touch my heart, and that I send love to. So love and light to you. Until we meet again, be well, be safe, and be happy. I'll see you next time.